And welcome back once again to my channel here at RJB Starcraft Cast, where I will now bring you another beautiful game of Starcraft fastest map. This time it is between Voss and 458. 458 is known as 458. He's a great Korean Protoss master player, one of the best Protoss players within Korean fastest map. He's known from his streak of games against Flash from about last year in June up until August, where Flash just kept spamming fastest map games against 458, trying to beat 458. Those videos on Flash's channel were a huge success. I assume even some of those videos got up to 500 to 600,000 views in total. People just loved watching 458 and Flash go at it, mostly because Flash was losing most of those games. And this game in particular is already quite interesting because Voss is doing some really wacky shit that I didn't expect him to be doing. And I'm just fumbling around with the settings, and alright, the interface is all set up. So I sped up the first couple of minutes from the game because those first couple of minutes are quite long and not very eventful. Voss seems to be going for a very fast factory, because this is the exact build you do for when you are going for a very fast factory build. He's going to pull off an SCV of the minerals once that barrack finishes and throw down two factories. There is the SCV, there's another one, and there are the two factories. This allows you to go for very fast vultures with mines, or allows you to go for very fast tanks. The barrack over there is pretty much just there to be useless. Like, you can either throw it in a bunker here. If you were playing 2 versus 2, you would throw it in a bunker here and probably place the barracks a little bit closer to here, just to wall this thing up and keep everything very compact, and also to keep all your buildings within the range of the one bunker you'll be throwing down right here. Then you make 2 marines and put them inside the bunker. But instead he's going for 3 factories. There's a single marine out. The marine is going to be used to scout, maybe harass this choke here. I'm not too sure what he's planning on doing with that. Maybe he's going to place that in his choke to keep a probe from entering. Already thrown down a second gas. Depot is now being thrown down on the bottom side. 458 going for 3 barracks, 3 gateways and a cybernetics core, mining off of 2 geysers. And he's got a second cannon up at his choke. And the fact that he's going for 3 gateways leads me to wonder what he's going to do, because I am not entirely sure what his usual plan is for when he goes to 3 gateways. I don't often see this guy go for 3 gateways. Usually it is 2, rarely it is 3. So that will be interesting. Alright, a vulture is out. Vulture is gonna kill the probe there at the front. Now it's gonna redirect itself and kill this probe here on the side that just snuck into the base and is now getting all the information that 458 needs to start formulating a great answer or a great punishment to what Voss is doing right now. Kind of funny to see that Vulture got stuck inside the SCVs there. Probe is still alive. Vulture having troubles to get through the gap. Vulture gets through. Vulture kills the probe. Probe is dead. And Voss is already researching siege mode. So he is planning on going very aggressive, and that aggression might just work. But I assume that 458 is going for Dragoons and possibly Dark Templars, because he already has a Citadel of Adun out, but no robotic facility. So he's either going for Dark Templars or, well, most likely Dark Templars. But that we have to wait up until he has the minerals to build a Templars archive. Right now it's just preparing for whatever Voss is doing. Voss is waiting up for his siege mode. He's got vulture speed also on the way, so he might be planning on running those vultures into the base once he gets 1 cannon down. Not too sure, so he might be trying to place a mine right there on the minerals and maybe bait one of those dragoons in and kill the probes. I've done it myself once. It's really fun if it works, but it rarely works because players don't really tend to fall for it all that much, and most of the time players already have a cannon up like there. Right, so Singularity Charge is on the way for 458. 458 has prepared himself quite well. He has the right amount of units he needs to fight this off. This tank here over the hill is going to do a lot of damage on these Dragoons, so 458 is kind of reluctant on going in. A single Dragoon went down to the combined fire of these Dragoons, Vultures and tanks. That single tank is on 1 HP. That is actually a factual goddamn miracle that it has 1 HP left. Exactly. It's going to pull over the SCV to repair it. That's also a really nice, sweet move. Keeping the tank alive, not letting it go to waste. Vulture's now coming in. Vulture's going to try to get some damage off on those probes. A couple of probes going down. He's really getting some kills in there. Those vultures killed about 4 probes, maybe 5. Not too sure. They went down quite fast. But Voss doesn't really need those vultures anymore. Though I assume he could have saved them. But the vultures themselves don't really do much aside from laying down mines, which are absolutely amazing for pushing and keeping Dragoons away from your tanks. And also from zoning Dark Templars. There's 3 Dark Templars now coming out. Those Dark Templars will not be able to walk through those mines. The mines can detect Dark Templars. Dark Templar goes down. Once the mine hits it, and boom it goes. Oh, my throat hurts. Really badly. Why am I doing this? Alright, so Dark Templars eating up the mines, eating up a tank as well. So 458 is holding this on really, really well. Voss is very slowly expanding. Throwing down 3 more factories, and there is 4 more factories. There's another starport. I was assuming he'd throw down a starport just to be safe, but no starport is coming in. 458 is already making a drop to punish this aggression from Voss. Voss does not have a turret out there yet, and Voss does not have a scan either. He's got a second command center though, but no academy. A mistake a lot of players make when they go for this exact build is not making an academy, because you don't really need any of the upgrades from an academy, but you do need the scan from the academy. So that might pose to be a little bit of a trouble for him in the future. But he is planning on being very aggressive with pushing, and he's going to rely on those turrets here to provide himself with detection. Drop comes flying in. He sees the shuttle flying in, but there is a single turret there, but there are no units there to defend. He's got a couple of vultures there and a tank, but he hasn't pulled them over yet. He's going to have to pull them over very quickly, because 458 is going to drop those Dark Templars right on top of the turret. The turret is going to go down. He gets some shots up on the first Dark Templar. Second Dark Templar is also going to go down. And actually, that's a very, very, very lucky little chain of events. The Dark Templar goes down at the same time as the turret goes down, so no damage will be had. Inside the base, aside from losing a single turret, but now there's a Dark Templar there on the side. It's scouting for things to harass. It's going to attack this turret here. The SCV is going to go down. Turret's going to get interrupted. He's going to have to put a new SCV on that turret, but now he's going to focus on other turrets. The turret is actually finished, but unfinished, and yeah, it is now finished. That's really, I didn't notice it earlier, but that was on 200 HP. It was just a single tick away from finishing. So that is really fortunate for 458, being able to get a little bit more damage off with the Dark Templar in the base of Voss. Dark Templar does not go wasted. Voss now once again sending his units out into the choke of 458, trying to get that pressure down. But 458 has grown pretty big. Of 48 probes, got 9 Stargate gateways out, up to 11 soon, 10 soon. There's a Stargate there too for Corsairs. He's got drops being produced. He's making a second robotic facility. He's got upgrades on the way, shuttle speed and weapon upgrades. But Voss is now going on the offensive, placing down a lot of mines, zoning all the Dragoons and Zealots away from the tanks. A lot of these Zealots are running into the mines, taking some of the mines down before they can explode. But all of the Zealots eventually go down. Units were dropped on the tanks in the backside, but don't really pose much of a threat. Single tank went down there in the back. But most of these tanks do make it out alive. All of the units that 458 had died, barring the Dragoons. Dragoons were pulled back, but now drops are going to come flying over the north side, northwestern side of Voss's base. Over the hill it flies, but it meets a bunch of turrets, and the turrets take it down. But the Templar does come out, and Templar gets a beautiful storm off on the SCVs of Voss, and Voss loses 22 SCVs to that storm drop. But Voss is still pushing in, as he's got a lot of units out there in 458's choke, and 458 might not be able to replenish or build enough units quick enough, although he does have 10 gateways up against, let me count. Alright, 8 tanks, and there's a couple more vultures and tanks inside of base. No more new tanks have been queued up. This is, I say that, he queues up more tanks. I jinxed myself really pretty nicely there. Alright, so 2 Reavers there in the back. 2 shuttles are being produced, and 2 shuttles are going to have to pick up those Reavers, and he might be going for the Reaver shuttle micro once those finish. There's a Corsair here. The Corsair is not doing much at all. Units now come streaming in for 458. 458 is now going on a counterattack, trying to kill the advancement from Voss, but Voss has so many mines out there in the front that all these Zealots end up going down. They take a couple of vultures and tanks with them, but not enough to hold this off. Jesus. Alright, so it's going to come down to the next wave from 458. 458 is going to have to be throwing out waves very, very quickly and rapidly if he wants to push Voss back. 458 is in the advantage here because he's got more probes and a higher income, but he's very quickly losing his gateways and getting pushed in closer and closer and deeper into that corner. Now another drop comes flying in, and there's 2 Reavers in there. He drops the Reavers on the side. He's decides against flying them over, but now the two Reavers are stuck here in the range of the tanks. One tank goes down to the Reaver, but the Reaver eventually doesn't get a shot off because its vision is somewhat getting blocked by this turret. Sometimes it bugs out, and the Reaver cannot shoot from behind a building, an enemy building that is. And now these Zealots on the side here going down. Zealots running in from the top side, but the mine's taken them down very quickly. More Vultures are gonna come streaming in. Voss's economy is pretty much recovered at this point. He's just producing and producing and producing and sending and advancing very, very slowly. This tank here plays very aggressively, and it will eventually take down that cannon. No, it doesn't take the cannon down. Dragoon takes it down before it can do that. Tanks here in the back have to start moving up deeper and deeper, but Voss is gonna have to lay down another row of mines here first. Otherwise, these tanks will be standing on top of these mines and go down to the mines once the Zealots walk into those mines. And he loads up another drop. He's gonna drop those units right on top of the tanks. And maybe trigger some mines to take down those tanks along with him. He drops on top of the tanks. A lot of these tanks go down. Zealots eventually also go down. 5 tanks are still alive. Now Dark Temples are coming out. Dark Temples go down to the mines. Voss advancing further, deeper into 458's base. 458 is really feeling the pressure now. He's really feeling the pressure now. He's losing his buildings very slowly. Another wave of Zealots comes in, and this time he takes down pretty much all of the tanks that Voss had inside of the base of 458. Voss has to really quickly replenish his units there. These 2 tanks gonna go down to the Reavers, and actually there's only now a single tank left in 458's base. The 458 now has a chance to go for the counterattack, because I don't think Voss will be able to replenish the amount of mines he had inside of 458's base quick enough, nor will he be able to get enough tanks in there. But maybe I'm wrong, but it does feel like 458 has successfully fought this off. Vultures now coming in. The last couple of mines being cleared out with the lives of the Zealots in return for it. And the turrets being taken down by the Reavers. Voss is now going to try to retake control over this. These Reavers are going to go down to tank shots if they don't get picked up quick enough. Right, they both get picked up, get relocated back to safety. And Voss is now feeling the pressure because, well, actually he's pretty down on Ridge. So he has to start adding on some buildings, adding on some gas. He's finally adding on more gas, but his gas is very low, because he hasn't been mining from that many gas for this entire time, and he's been producing and spending it really quickly. Now a drop comes flying in from 458. The turret as well there in the top side has been cleaned out. The drop flies in all the way. There's a single tank there. The shuttle unloads right on top of the tank, and he's gonna take down those SCVs. He's gonna take down the minerals. Only 24 SCVs left for Voss. 23-22. He is putting Voss into a world of hurt. But Voss has some minerals on his side, and he might be able to put this into a game-ending push, because 458 doesn't have that many units left inside of his base. More units spawning right now as I'm saying it. And he's getting a surround off on those tanks, but the tanks doing a lot of damage. The Vultures taking down the Zealots. Alright, the tanks now going down though, and Reavers have just newly spawned inside of 458's base. New units are going to come streaming out for Voss, but Voss just lost control over 458's base, and Voss now has to call the GG because he has no minerals left, his income is low, his SCV count is low, he cannot produce that many units from his base, he can no longer produce tanks because he has no gas, no SCVs mining gas either. And 458 manages to come back somewhat because he was being pushed into a corner, but Voss was really sloppy on his drop defense, and the drops do end up costing Voss his life. If Voss had been a little bit more cautious with throwing down more turrets here on the side, getting a little bit more drop defense for himself going, and maybe keeping a couple of units back at his main to kill those Reavers quicker and maybe dodge the drops, he would have definitely won the game. But I'll admit it is very hard to multitask 2 fronts at this level of play at the same time and not miss something, because sometimes you just get so focused on your opponent, because 458 has pretty good micro and pretty good control and pretty good decision making, and you can start to make mistakes when you're playing against opponents such as 458. Eventually 458 comes out on top, and this series, I forgot to mention this is a series, which I should have mentioned at the start, but I mentioned it right now at the end. But the score is 1-0 in favor of 458. The Protoss wins, Terran loses, and I assume more of these games are going to be Protoss against Terran, because 458 only plays Terran, and Voss pretty much plays Terran 90% of the time. And I meant 458 plays Protoss. Anyway, up to game number 2. Oh, Jesus.